Okay. Hello, I'm Andrew, and I'm going to give the traditional brother of the bride speech. Before I get into my speech, Ann texted me a few weeks ago once she realized her wedding was just 1 month away. I sensed a panicked tone in her text. She told me I was to thank everyone for coming, since she is not a big fan of the spotlight or public speaking. So, on behalf of Ann and Dave, I would first like to thank the parents, Richard and Paula Johnson, Dopey and Chi-Chi Mezzanot, and Paul and Barbara Prunty. Dave and Ann would also like me to give a special thanks to Marcy Cochran for being the wedding photographer, as well as for her assistance over the past several months as she helped to coordinate a lot of the wedding. Dave, not Ann, just Dave, would like to also thank Dan Zdefsky for helping Jason to plan the bachelor party. Also, I would like to thank everyone else who has been involved in the planning of this day, all of the people who worked to make it happen, all of the hard-earned dollars who have gone into today, and all of you who actually remembered to RSVP. Thank you for making today possible and for coming to share this special day with Ann and Dave. Okay, so I've divided my speech into multiple sections. To avoid fancy transitions, I'm simply going to share my words with you, and I'll let you know when I get to a new section. Please no texting. I'd appreciate your attention. There are only 7 sections. Section 1, the attention getter / establishing credibility. I spent 8.5 months with Ann inside my mother's uterus. Now that I have your attention, here's the rest of my credibility. I have only been alive on this earth without Ann for 7 minutes. We were in the same classroom from kindergarten through 4th grade. We were in many classes together through junior high and high school. We shared an apartment for 1 long year during grad school at Marshall University. We endured nearly 20 family vacations, driving to Florida and back, all while sharing the back seat. Presently, she contacts me on a daily basis to schedule a time to video chat with her nephews. For these reasons, and so many more that I did not mention, I feel I have earned a few minutes to share my thoughts with you today. Section 2, the engagement. Friday, December 7th, 2012, a day that will live in infamy. The day my parents and I thought we may never see. Our little Ann got engaged. Here's exactly how it went down for those who don't know the story. It was the Christmas season. Ann and Dave were on a mini vacation to New York City and were ice skating at Rockefeller Center. Dave was showing off his figure skating skills when he fell after failing to land his triple toe loop. A concerned Ann quickly skated to Dave's side, fearing he was hurt. Once Ann made it to Dave, he was partially up, on one knee, offering a ring, and that is when he popped the question. Just a side note about the ring. The ring is lovely if you haven't seen it. Dave handpicked a diamond and then had it placed into the setting that he envisioned. A lot of thought and effort went into the design process, and the end result is a beautiful one-of-a-kind ring that is truly spectacular. He even went as far as having it registered, so there could not be another ring like it. I think if Dave really would have been thinking, he would have given Ann a mood ring. So he would know when best to keep his distance for those rare occasions when Ann might be a bit testy. Okay, back to the engagement. My parents were delighted, joy-filled, thankful, and most of all, relieved to have Ann off their backs. The first conversation I had with my parents following the news of Ann's engagement went something like this. I called them and my dad answered. He quickly asked that my mom get on the phone as well, so as soon as they were both on their rotary phones, I said, "Did you see in the paper today that hell froze over?" My dad said, "Yeah, I saw that pigs were flying too." And my mom's comment, "They got engaged on the anniversary of the start of World War II." If they had waited a day, it could have been on a holy day. All I said was, shows that beggars can't be choosers. Let's be happy that this happened no matter what day it was on. Section 3, forever the pessimist. For some reason, Anne sometimes does not have the brightest outlook on things. This is something that Dave noticed early on about her, and for that reason, he gave her the nickname of Half Empty. From the time I heard that nickname, I knew I liked Dave. That's my kind of observation and my kind of humor. The thing about it is, Anne has no reason to be pessimistic. She is naturally beautiful, is focused on family and friends, is successful in her career, is loved by many, and tans well. Here's a quick example of Anne's half-empty attitude. When Anne made the announcement on Facebook that she was engaged, here's what she wrote, and I quote, "Something wonderful that I didn't think would ever happen to me happened to me last week. Dave and I were on a trip to New York City and he proposed, blah, blah, blah." Anne, look at me. You made it sound like you were destined to be an old maid with a large collection of cats. That's not realistic thinking. So from this day forward, I challenge you to have a more positive, half-full outlook on life because you've got everything going for you, and now you get to spend it with the one you have so patiently waited for. Section 4, tips for Dave. Don't pick your fingernails. Don't pick your toenails. Don't bite your nails. Don't pinch Anne with your fingers. Don't pinch Anne with your toes. Don't whistle. Don't crack your knuckles. Don't crack your neck. Don't put celery in anything. Don't make Vera walk in wet grass. Don't cross the invisible line in the back seat. But once I wrote that, I realized that probably doesn't apply to you. Don't ever let her beat you in ping pong. And don't eat all of the chocolate chip cookies. Okay, section 5. Dave versus Dad. It is sometimes said, you will marry someone like your father. So I've documented a few similarities between Dave and my dad. There's a 10-year age difference between my mom and dad. There's a 10-year age difference between Anne and Dave. Both my dad's and Dave's baby pictures are all in black and white. Both enjoy following and talking about WVU sports. My dad has good taste in women. Dave has good taste in women. Both have incredible sons. My dad was courageous enough to go into a marriage knowing he would have an Italian mother-in-law, and Dave has taken on the same challenge. And finally, both adore Anne and would do absolutely anything for her. Section 6. Section 7, the big finish. Can we all raise the glass one more time, please? Here's to a truly blessed marriage, filled with love to endure any trying times and the joy to relish in the good times. And lastly, Anne, I want you to know that I'm not looking at this marriage as me losing a sister, but rather gaining a brother who has a pontoon boat and 2 jet skis. God bless.